very frustrating. I would imagine it's very frustrating for that live there. Moving your entire life here after being a person that's born and raised in London and has lived in this sort of quiet, melancholic culture, what has been the biggest change or culture shock?
The bacon.
Tonight,
obviously the bacon.
from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I think it's really important to be honest about your own
It's a
country
special
and culture.
prime
American
time
bacon is just
And burgers.
yeah, burgers too. Driving on the right-hand side of the road is the right side of the road to drive on. Definitely having now driven a lot of miles on both sides of the road. But there are other things like, people dress better in England. There's just no doubt about it. They dress better. What would I say is the biggest culture shock in general, though? I would say that there is definitely an aspect of what I just mentioned, which is change things and do things, which is really powerful in America. Like, that is one of the biggest culture shocks. And there are other people who have said the same thing. There is,
from Las Vegas.
I was reading something the other day where somebody who had previously lived in Germany moved to America, and they basically said,
he opts to
before I
not
moved to
bring this one
America,
out. The first drive will start at the
my father
25.
worked in a non-profit, and my
So here
mother
comes
worked
the
for
Raiders
federal
offense
government
now
in
onto
Germany.
the field.
And so no one in my life,
And a look
no one
here
that I
at their
really knew in my
signal
life had
caller,
ever
the
worked in
fifth
a
year
for-profit business. Like everyone had
Every
either been
quarterback in the
subsidized by
NFL
other
has a
people or
little bit of his
subsidized by
own
the state.
signature style
And so
out there,
you
but
move
for
to
this
America,
guy,
like for me, that
he
was one of
really
the
plays
huge
the game in
things.
a different way.
You just kind of move over
It's
here,
led
there's
to a
people
couple
just
double
doing
takes from
things the
us
whole
up here
time.
as we see him as
It is
something truly unique.
It is a
He's not
culture
really
of
just the strongest
activity
passer
and
or the best
entrepreneurial
athlete to ever
spirit.
play
And
the
so that for
position.
me was
He
a
just has a
huge
certain way of seeing the action,
when I moved
and it
here.
allows
I
him to
would
make
also
some
say
special
that
plays out there.
the other big thing, which has kind of faded in my acknowledgement of how revolutionary it is in some ways, is just because I'm now part of that culture in America, so I've become less receptive to how big it is. But I remember how big it is when I go back to the UK. It is fading. Because in America, faith is a default. It's almost something which people
losing yardage
open
back
with
at
in
the
conversations,
48-yard line.
particularly
This
obviously
drive
where we live
starts
in
with 2
Tennessee.
steps forward
You
and
will
now
come
1
across
back.
people
A
the
pair
whole
of
time
first
saying,
downs,
"Which
and
church
here
do you
a
go
loss
to?"
of
And
yardage.
I was listening to
Here we go on
a
2nd and 12.
faith-based podcast,
It's
or I was reading the
complete.
Bible, or something like that,
And
and in
he'll get
Britain,
inside the 40
I
to
would
the
argue
39.
it is one of the most advanced
I
secular
like
cultures in the world.
Get everyone involved in the passing game, and
You talk about faith in the public domain in Britain, and people look at you as if you've got
on the
five
first
heads.
drive, that
It's
can also help
really
establish
just
some rhythm,
very
I think so. It gets
demoralizing.
everyone involved.
It's
They feel like they're
quite,
part of it. It really gets them
it's
amped
quite
up as they go
hostile, really, to
forward.
actually
Work
organize
in the
faith.
middle of the field, and he's got a man
There's a difference
complete.
between
And he is
continental
going to
Europe
have
and
the
the UK.
Raiders first down.
Continental
They
Europe
needed
is
4. He
predominantly
doubled
Catholic,
that. He wound up
and
getting 8.
there's much
Solid
more of a
opening
kind of
drive so far, Charles.
hardcore
They moved this football into field
Catholicism
goal
in
range, but
places
you know
like
that they want to
France
cap
and
this
Spain.
off with 6 and
Obviously,
not
Italy is
3.
completely separate
Absolutely,
because
as one of
that's
the
where
better
the
coaches in the
church is.
league
But
always tells me,
you've got
on
these
offense, I
countries
want
in
their
Europe
body
where there's kind of
blows
a
all
hardcore
game
Catholic
long
movement,
and
and so
finish
if
it
you
with
say, like, I go
uppercuts.
to mass
Well, here
every
are the
day,
body
or
blows right now. He's
I
hoping
take
one
my faith life
uppercut will take care
seriously,
of the
and
end
you
of
said
this
to one of those
drive.
people, they would be very
They'll
receptive
come
to
up
that.
on
And
a
there's a
2nd
whole
and
branch
7
of
from the
society which is kind of
27.
built around preserving the faith.
Again,
And in
he'll drop
Britain,
to throw.
the Anglican Church, which is the state church, is very
35-yard line.
it's very liberal and it's incredibly progressive, and as a result, most people have, most of British society have no real faith life,
They need a
and so
crafty play call
faith
here.
in the public domain
14
is just not
yards
something
is what
talked
they
about.
need
And
to
so
try
over
to
here,
convert this thing.
you come over here,
Now on
it's
3rd
amazingly
and long,
refreshing
they'll look to
to
throw.
be in America
He
where
finds
people
his
are so
man
open,
complete.
not
That's
just the idea of
Bowers.
talking about faith,
And he will not
but
get what he needed
so
as he
open
stopped
to
short of the
learning about
first down
faith,
at
so
around the
open to
22.
talking,
They
conversion
do get
experiences
12,
happen
but
the
they'll
whole
be
time over
marked
here,
short.
whereas they're kind of
And that leads to a
rare
4th
in
down.
the UK. But yeah, that's probably one of the biggest culture shocks, I'd say.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's a bit of a paradox when you consider the fact that you contribute to the TV and the time of the inspiration of Europe to anything would be Christianity. And so to hear so many people say that they've abandoned those
No
roots.
touchdown there, but if that first
It's just
drive is any
interesting
indication,
that
looks like they're going to have a pretty good day
It's a
passing the
perfect
football.
segue,
I would say confidence would have to be pretty high after that first drive. Be able to throw it almost at will.
Is about your faith.
Exactly right. They didn't get the
Not
touchdown.
exactly
The 3 points serves as a
usual
nice notice
scenario
about how
for
this
someone
offense is
to
going to move.
leave
From out of
the
his end
Anglican
zone,
Church
it's
and
Avery
become Catholic.
Williams.
least of all.
And ultimately cannot get this out to the 25-yard line.
When they were actually raised with a strong faith. So I guess, can you just speak a little bit to your faith journey? And speaking about your household, how you were raised, whether your parents had faith, and then let's get into your decision to, we say in America, study theology. You would say to read theology in the UK.
First carry here for Robinson.
So, I mean, my parents were evangelical Christians. And
from the
as
24
you know,
now, here's a second down and 9.
my sisters are also, like, they have a mixed faith life. One of them is very devout, the other one is not. I was raised in a home which is
and they're able to get this one across
still to this day, like my parents' house will be very built around the Bible, will be very built around a daily prayer life.
And this was a nice example of an
church
offensive coordinator
attendance, like that would be something that is just Bible studies, like very regular,
just trying to free up some
involved in
space.
the church. Quickly became aware of that in England, just going back to my previous answer about how secular it is, because
It's a 1-yard
when you
loss.
say that you
That's
go to
going to
church
bring
on
up
Sunday
second
in
and
the
11.
UK, that is not normal. And so as a result, by the time that you're cognizant of kind of having that discussion with your peers at a very young age, like 7, 8, 9, 10, at a boys' school in London, you become very aware that faith is different.
And the Raiders are going to get the football here as it gets this up to the 38-yard line. So a nice play defensively by the rookie
I
coming
started
up
to
with the
become interested in why I was
Late
different.
round pick
Like I
right
started
there,
to become
making a
interested
first round
in
impact. And a lot of these day three
my
corners
family
end up
had
winding up on
a faith
special
life, had a
teams and
religious
sub
life,
packages, and even on the
versus
practice
the
squad.
rest of the kind
But
of
he's
secular
really made an
sports
impact on this defense.
And so for me, that kind of started a long journey of becoming quite interested in theology and faith. By the time that I was
13 yards, picking up the first.
12,
Counting down toward the midway
13,
point
14,
in
I was very aware that faith was a huge part of how I saw the world.
They'll look to throw.
So
That's going to be caught.
It's
Jacoby Myers.
It's different.
And he'll go down
if you
inside
are
the
brought up in a
45
faith-filled
before
home,
going out of bounds.
you will realize that
Second and
faith,
5.
religion, has a huge impact on the way people are shaped. And that was equally as being played out in the UK during my formative years by radical Islam, as it was being played out by my own faith formation in Christianity. Because at the end of the Cold War, of course, we had this great 10-year window where historians and philosophers, famously Francis Fukuyama, said, this is the end of history, neoliberal capitalism has won, we will never see the rise of another ideology again, in the same way that communism and capitalism had to face off against each other. And in the early 2000s, that couldn't have been proved more wrong, because this was when the rise of radical Islam happened, and particularly in Europe, this was felt very strongly. And so for me, I was witnessing things like London bombings going on in my teenage years versus my own faith formation in Christianity. And this made me realize by quite a young age that faith, religion, is just a huge part of people's life. You know, it is a huge part. It is almost the greatest force which drives, it is the greatest force which drives the world.
And I would also say the lack of faith as well.
Yeah. A faith in nothing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they always replace it with a faith in something else.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK, and again, this is because of the UK's advanced secular culture. In some ways, you look at radical Islam in Europe. Well, what's Islam reacting to? Why are so many young men in Europe being drawn to Islam? The reason being is because the void. It's the void. Nature abhors a vacuum. And so you have the churches in Europe, whether it be the Catholic Church or the Protestant churches, they have stripped themselves of true theology. And the Catholic Church in Europe is as guilty as this of anyone else. You had this progressive, wishy-washy, liberal gospel being preached by every pastor under the sun. And then you've got this religion which pops up, which shows affirmative action, absolute strength. You know, these are the tenets which
from the end zone, here comes Williams.
To young men, particularly in Europe.
That decision to bring it out ends up not being a good one. Cost him about 5 yards as he's tackled at the 20.
Radicalism within Europe is now homegrown. It's not coming. It's being imported.
So for the second time in this one, we get set to see the Falcons offense. And they're in an early hole. The first drive, they threw the interception. That led to a touchdown. So decent-sized deficit early on.
It is, but I think you hit the key words early on. So they have to decide, do we even need to change game plan, or do we just need to execute better and try and get back in this game?
But it's definitely the case that if you look at the UK, for example, you've got this progressive Anglican church, which is basically saying that, you know, left-wing politics is good, and the predominant role of the church is to care about the environment and all this kind of stuff. And actually, of course, people don't just want a social gospel. They want eternal truth.
Right where this set of downs started, they need a full 10 here to pick up the first down and move the chains.
Life, right? This is the real meaning of life. It's not just about
on third down,
the environment and net zero and whatever else.
His early struggles continue. Here's another interception.
And people actually crave that in the end. It reminds me of when I hosted Andrew Tate. I want to say it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, when he similarly said, I pressed him on why he left Christianity. And the answer he gave, which was very interesting when you consider, was he basically said Christianity became weak, and Christians don't defend themselves. They allow people to disrespect Jesus Christ, and how much people supposed to be drawn to something that has been weak, and obviously startling and upsetting to hear, but he is echoing, I think, what you were alluding to, which is that there does need to be a return to a true faith.
Guys, I want to note to one of our sponsors, Preborn, because we know that every baby's life is a precious gift full of potential and dreams waiting to unfold. This is why Preborn, the nation's largest pro-life organization, is on the front lines for at-risk babies and mothers that are facing unplanned pregnancies. Preborn's network of clinics are positioned in the highest abortion rate areas in the country. They're equipping these clinics with the resources that they need to save these precious lives and provide compassionate support to mothers for up to 2 years after birth, all at no cost. As abortion continues to rise, Preborn is expanding their life-affirming care to help more burning women and save more babies. If you have the means, would you please consider giving a gift to save a baby in a very big way? A tax-deductible donation of $15,000 will place an ultrasound machine in a women's center, saving countless lives for years to come. And now through, I don't know what, I'm supposed to put a month there, your gift will be doubled. Now through March of Make Baby, your gift will be doubled. Donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. Again, that's pound 250 baby. Or you can donate securely at preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace.
So you're raised in an evangelical household. You are introduced to faith your entire life. You are drawn to it at I would say, rather very young. When did you make the decision, I'm actually going to study this at Oxford? I actually wanted to do this pursuit.
Yeah, that's all he needed, right? But the problem is, we coach these guys to try and get more.
Was it right away? Did you consider a second subject?
I sort of thought about history at one point, but it was quite clear to me, I think, that theology was the answer. You know, I was very interested in it. As I said, I was just very, very interested in it. By the time I was 15, I had begun the conversion experience that I then went through for the next 5 years to Catholicism, which culminated in me converting when I was at Oxford.
Let's slow this part down, because this is pretty big, obviously, especially as, like I said, someone raised Anglican. So you're at Oxford, you're studying theology. What moved you as an evangelical to the Catholic faith, which I imagine you were raised with a different understanding, a different perspective. Evangelicals do tend to hold a much, I would say, strong feelings against the Catholic faith, both here and abroad.
13 yards that time and another first down.
That is, some evangelicals would say that, but yes, of course, I mean, it was.
They'll look to
I was brought up in a home where I think it was viewed with suspicion at best.
And he takes this just a
Although,
few yards shy
to
of
give
the
my
red zone
parents credit
before
where it was
going
due,
out.
they had always basically said that it was the personal relationship with Jesus which mattered, more than anything else. And so, my dad has frequent examples of Catholics he had spoken to who he definitely knew had personal relationships with Jesus, but generally speaking, the Catholic Church was perceived of as nominal, like nominalism, where people just went, they didn't really understand why they went, and filled with superstition was the two phrases that kind of stuck out. The Catholic Church started
not only spell your style, but can come in and keep driving.
The persecution, I should say, but basically, smells and bells was a phrase that frequently stuck around in my head from when I was growing up, because that was how the Catholic Church was perceived. But for me, in part, it was kind of numbers companion to it, and this is just something which I think is how my brain works, but I didn't really understand how we could be saying that before 1517 we just had this big kind of black hole of Christianity from the time of the apostles until Luther crops up. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, there must be some living faith in this 1500-year window, even if you want to call it like a 1200-year, 1300-year window, because for the first 200 years you had the kind of apostolic age. So, what's going on in that period? And for me, that was like I'm just going to write off this entire period of history. And I do like to challenge ideas and concepts and just figure out what's going on. And for me, I was like, okay, well, you've got doctors of the church, you've got some of the greatest minds ever, like Thomas Aquinas ever in human history, who occupy this period, as well as countless popes whose writings have been imbibed and consumed by Western civilization since. So what's happening with these guys? Like, are they Christians? Are they not Christians? And so that was really kind of where it began for me. That was the early church. The first 700 years was what I then went on to study, but that was kind of really where I began my inquiry. It was like, this doesn't make any sense. I just don't believe that there are no Christians here. So let's figure out what's going on. And so that was kind of where I started. And I had this great priest at school who was actually an Anglican priest, but he ended up going Catholic as well. He was very good at rebutting many of the preconceived ideas that I had about Catholicism. And so he started to really kind of challenge me on a lot of my positions. And that was kind of where it all began.
Was there a singular moment that you
So both of these teams, Charles, coming off touchdowns now, but this offense, they just had to stand on the sideline, watch their opponent offer a really impressive drive to reach the end zone.
I think you're not telling yourself the truth if you don't think there's some one-upsmanship going on right now, because they just had their touchdown answered by a drive of double-digit plays.
I guess there were two moments. There was once where I was in a Dominican monastery in Croatia, where I very much felt that there was a gain of 5, good enough for the first down. And this is a weird thing to say, but it was kind of the silence of the place. I just felt I'm drawn to silence. I think you know that. But I like the silence. I like the reflection times. The early church fathers, or the desert fathers, have always had an appeal to me because they wanted to lead this contemplative life, studying the Lord like in silence. And so for me, it was something about the silence of this church which I just found very kind of inspiring, overwhelming in some ways. So that was one moment. I think I was must have been about 15 or 16. And then there was another moment, which was the first time that I went into a church, and that was in London, Westminster Cathedral, and I sat at the back, and I prayed a rosary for the first time in my life, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just wanted to make that first step, and then when I did that, I prayed for the Blessed Sacrament, which was also a huge kind of, for me, that was the thing which I had really begun to appreciate. Like, this is Christ. This is not just bread. This is Christ.
And it was not an easy thing to tell your parents the fact you didn't. Most kids are like hiding drugs from their parents or hiding the rosary from their parents.
This was like, I was very nervous about it.
And try mount a stand before they backed up even further.
I was confirmed, and then I had And then I sort of carried on living, and for me, it was something that I didn't want them to kind of know about and stuff with. Because
6 yards there off the scramble, but it'll still leave him with a third down.
So what did you think the reception would be for that?
4 yards here to pick up the first down.
Wanted to keep the peace, so to speak.
Yeah, I did want to keep the peace.
Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. Pass taken in by
I guess I was sort of
and he is going to have the Raiders first down as he'll be marked down a yard or two
get
past
out
the
of my
marker
house.
following a gain of 6.
Crying, and I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you, what I thought the reaction
throw.
would be at the time. I probably thought it was going to be something like
Open
that,
man
kind of
is
quite
Myers.
dramatic
And he'll be out of
and
bounds just
arguments
inside
and
the 25-yard
explosions and
line.
all that kind of stuff. But
Now 2nd and 3.
How did they find out, or how did you tell them?
I actually don't know how they found out. They found out, but then they confronted me
Throw
about
caught
it.
out wide by
We had a
Renfro.
conversation.
And he
But they
will
were
lose yardage and be backed up to the 24.
You saw your
Lose a
son.
yard on the play, so now they need 3 yards on third down. Heck of a play there to get to him quickly and get him down for a loss.
I think they did a really nice job getting ready for this game, scouting, watching film, and understanding defensively what the play design
I
was.
think they kind
So
of figured
2 of
something was
2
going
on third down conversions on this drive, and now they face a 3rd and 3 here. Rolling to his left.
So now that you're in America, I think there's a lot of big discussion happening now. What would you say your perspective is seeing that you and I discussed there? There are these slight differences. It's kind of difficult to speak to
Last play pass
regarding
completion now.
the way that certain
Finally, the
topics
defense
emerge
gets
in
there.
the UK and certain topics emerge in America. Like we are brother and sister, but there are some differences. You know what I mean? One of the things that I had kind of spoken to you about was that evangelicalism and faith is so different. Like when I think of your parents who are evangelicals compared to evangelicals in America.
So a nice
It just feels different, you know, it just feels very different. So,
And that's
what would you
exactly
say are
what
some
you're
of the
looking
differences
to
that
do.
you can
Maneuver
speak
yourself
to
into
in,
range.
I
That
guess,
way, if
whether
your
it's
drive
religion,
stalls out,
faith, or
you're able
another
to get
topic
something out of it. And they
when
do
it comes
so
to
right
politics
there.
across the pond, as opposed to here?
And this
On a
return
variety
net
of subjects,
positive as he
abortion,
gets
faith.
past the 25
Yeah,
to the
I mean,
27-yard line.
Faith obviously is one that I've spoken about already. I mean, abortion is
About
something
set
which
to begin their
is
next
an
drive.
interesting
The
one
Falcons
because, again,
offense at the line.
abortion
And
is
now
not
last
really
drive, so
discussed in the
successful
UK.
with
It's
the
kind of a
ground game,
settled topic,
ending in a touchdown. Do you stick with that formula?
which over here is very much not. I mean, the funny part is that the perspective of many Brits to America, and, you know, I'm sure there'll be people in the comments who will be like, I'm British, I disagree with you on this, but generally speaking, the perspective of Britain is that America is kind of a bit crazy, you know, and
So from the
and I
39
don't
now,
agree with
they'll
this,
come
but
up
this
on a
is
first
often
and
the way
10.
they tend to look down their noses quite a bit at American culture. Like, Europeans think of themselves as quite highfalutin, you know, and they're kind of like, sort of Americans, crazy
And
Americans.
he'll be out of bounds after getting this one
But of
across the
course,
40.
really what that actually is a
He'll wind
reflection
up getting
of
right
is the
about
freedom
4
of the
there on the
intellectual
scramble,
mind.
and it's
Right,
second
and actually
down.
the reason that they
I did like the
say it's
decision
crazy
making
is
there
because
to make sure
Americans
they
have this
picked up
great
something
inquisitive
instead of
attitude
forcing
to
a
things.
throw.
They don't
Now
accept
they've got more
standard
manageable play
norms.
coming up to
They're
try and
willing to
pick up the
challenge.
first down. And
And
don't
that
rule out the
confrontational
possibility
attitude then
that he just
reflects
keeps
itself
it
in the way that they debate
3
topics.
yards is half of what they needed. Now can they
Take
get
that
the
as a
other
no.
3 here on third
Americans are
down?
not
Coming up
willing
here
to
looking
just
for 3
those who are
yards to pick
pro-life
up the
and
first.
even those who are
On
pro-choice.
3rd and short,
Neither
they'll try
side
and
are
pick it
just
up through
willing
the
to
air.
accept the
Short
standardized
throw
norm.
caught by
They
Pitts.
are prepared to fight for whatever they believe.
As a
And that
defense,
is
you're more
the same
balanced when you're in
on
zone
other
coverage
topics such
because
as
you're able to keep your
vaccines, for
eyes
example,
on
which
the
I know is something
quarterback
that you and I
and see
talked
the
about when we
play
first got
develop
married.
in front of you.
You know, in Britain,
You're able to keep the
the
quick pass
vaccine
in front
schedule
of them
is just
and stop
accepted
it
by
right at the
everybody,
line
and
of
nobody
scrimmage.
really talks about
And
it.
how about the call
You know,
here? They need
I
2
get the
yards
illustration
in
that
their
when
own
we first got married,
territory
you sort
on
of asked
4th
what I
down,
thought
and
about
they're
it,
going
and
to go for it. On the move to
I
his
was kind
left.
of like, well, it's the same as
And
what
he's
I think
able to
about
take it
Tuesdays.
across
You know, it's
midfield
like,
before going
it
out of
happens, I mean, who
bounds.
cares kind of thing.
A
And
curious
over time,
decision to go
obviously,
for it,
you
but
and I
it
have
pays
talked
off with a
extensively about
first
these.
down.
And that's changed my mind about a lot of things, but also it's been very interesting to see how Americans fight
left
for this
side to
particular
Robinson.
topic.
He'll fight forward maybe
Something
to
that
the
will be
line
a
of
tab,
scrimmage,
start as
but
a
that's
taboo
all.
and become a mainstream, especially in
Max
America.
Crosby, the one who
And that's
got in
just
there for
thanks
the
to
stop.
Americans being more
Here's
confronted.
2nd and
And that's a
10.
great example because, I mean, I always knew I was not going to vaccinate my children. I was
Here's
always
a play
opposed
fake as
to
they set up
vaccines,
to
but
throw. Now he'll escape to
well,
his left.
yes, exactly. I was like, what do you
And he
think
can't find the
about
receiver, and he's brought down.
I was like, I don't really
It'll be a
care.
loss and only a couple on
And he was like, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. And then I think we were quite surprised by a lot of the research that had come upon. But it's so interesting because that was, what, 5-6 years ago. And now we're looking at an America where Make America Healthy again is mainstream. Our kids really are speaking about vaccines. It was really the only resource that I had when I kind of began my journey. And I can host a successful podcast talking about vaccines. And so it is interesting because you're correct. People do, and sometimes rightfully, stick down their noses to American culture because there are some aspects that we contribute. I mean, we gave the world to Kardashians, right?
And a little too much mustard on that one. It's a couple yards in
there's definitely a downside to American culture. But you're correct, and that the upside is that when we establish these norms, they're not necessarily established. People are willing to then say, wait a second, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Let's revisit this. And we're willing to have the confrontation. Like, in a way, we're still the communists.
You're still willing to fight and be aggressive, which is, and that's, the worst thing is apathy. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right? It's like, that's how it really feels. It feels apathetic and lethargic and stagnant. And it's like, you come over here and people are willing to fight, they're willing to stand up for what they believe in, you know, whether it's the Second Amendment through to the rate of tax, through to the Department of Government efficiency because they want to cut federal waste or vaccines or immigration or whatever it might be. People are willing to just fight for what they believe in, which is so refreshing. And that is the greatest difference between the 42-yard line here and brought down there. Listen, the UK, there is this kind of, it's like a malaise. It's a malaise of the mind. You know, it's a malaise where people go, you know, life's kind of okay. You know, we're fine and we're just plodding along.
They weren't even looking.
It's unbelievable stuff that wants to improve the world.
Second quarter action with 1:59 remaining.
A terrifying place because then you just become subject to.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38.
It's probably quite challenging because I always think of the other side. And my brain sort of naturally goes, okay, if it's being presented to me as the mainstream acceptable position, I want to see what the uncomfortable position is and see where I land on various topics. And unfortunately for you, because I have this huge platform and I say what I think, people assume that it must mean that's exactly what you think, but I'm kind of thinking out loud most of the time. I'm going, okay, this is a new topic, I'm not sure I think about it. And that must have an impact on your life because people just assume that we agree on everything, and we don't agree on everything.
They've really been targeting the tight end.
So what are
back to throw again?
Yeah, of course we can.
And I think that's something we're interested in is how do we navigate that? Because I don't really think we think about how to navigate that. But it is a big thing that my positions kind of become the family position on things. People assume that this must be what you think.
Pickup of 8 leaves him with 2 to go on 2nd down.
I think my answer to that, when people have come running about this person, is always like, well,
the Raiders going to use one of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds to go in the first half. Now a 2nd and 2.
That's weird. That implies that you share
They'll set up
an absolute belief in everything, right? Which is very odd. I've never met anyone who has had that.
The Raiders going to go ahead and use the second of their timeouts. As they stoppage with just under 50 seconds remaining in half number 1. Now a 1st and 10 at the 11.
And I think that actually is more important than almost the end result. Because the process that we and I have is one of a dialectic, and it's one of a discussion, a process where we challenge each other on what we perceive to be. There is truth. We know that there is truth. We know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that is truth. It is transcendental. Truth is transcendental, but the point being is that beyond that truth, how does that truth reflect itself in the world that we live in? That then one of a discussion, a process where we challenge each other on what we perceive to be. There is truth. We know that there is truth. We know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that is truth. It is transcendental. Truth is transcendental, but the point being is that beyond that truth, how does that truth reflect itself in the world that we live in?
It'll be Falcons football, and they trail here as we get back underway on EA Sports.
Which we then try and establish
from the end zone, here comes
Williams. Reach the same conclusions. Now there are certain areas where
and he'll be
it would be
stopped
very
up
weird
at
if we
the
didn't.
25.
We both obviously agree that abortion is wrong, and we both agree that the transgender lobby is far too powerful.
All in all, pretty manageable deficit, Charles, here as they start this third quarter offensively. When you consider the fact that in the first two quarters they had two costly turnovers.
I think you laid it out there perfectly, partner. Very tough to hold the lead going into the break if you continue to hand it over on multiple drives.
Yeah, and obviously, Charles, it will be very tough to climb back into the game if those turnovers continue.
It is a willingness to migrate our positions and to realize that we're
turning it over.
that is
I don't know how you make up a deficit.
I don't appreciate until people ask me about it how fortunate we are to be in a relationship where we don't argue about, and people just assume like, oh my gosh, you must be arguing all the time about all these things, and it's like, no, I think we're not too interested. And in the same way that I definitively thought
every time he looks up, somebody's there defensively. That was the same case on that play.
About the Catholic faith,
and he'll be out of bounds up near the 45.
I was too interested to shut that down when I saw Landon scoring in life because you became increasingly biased after we got married, which is really interesting. We should speak about that a bit. But you did. I mean, you are not the same person that I married. And I say that as a tremendous compliment, even though I thought you were perfect when you got married. I now look back and I'm like, wow, to see how much faith has moved you. When I say people, I was so interested and too interested to just go, he's just dabbling in a heresy, you know what I mean? Or, he's just worshiping Mary, and I think society has grown so accustomed to being dismissive.
But no more than
whether you want to say, well, this person's a conservative, therefore they're racist. This person doesn't want to vote for Kamala, therefore they're a sexist. This person has this perspective, therefore they're anti-Semitic. Whatever the name is, transphobe of the day. I'm too curious. I'm too curious when I see something moving in a certain direction. I want to follow. Even if I find out that I don't agree, I want to see where they're going. And I think that is kind of what makes us such a unique partnership, is that we're genuinely curious. So you were a Catholic when we got married. You were not an active Catholic when we got married. And now I would say you are an overactive Catholic. You are about as Catholic as it comes. You attend the Mass multiple times a week. Morning Mass, confession every week.
If someone's trying to throw the ball,
what was it in your life that pulled you in that direction? I don't even. I still don't know how
being hurried. He got rid of it before taking the hit.
You should have prayed for me.
Looking to throw. Buying time to his left. And he'll protect himself at the end here as he winds up getting pretty decent yardage. Fourth down, and the attention turns to Falcon kicker Younghoe Koo.
C.S. Lewis writes that how absurd it is to think that the lost sheep can find the shepherd. The shepherd has to come and find the lost sheep. That's not to say that I was fully lost. I think I had probably emerged from my lost years. I did have lost years in my 20s, there's no doubt about it, where I had no faith left, so to speak. I mean, I maintained a comatose heartbeat relationship with Christ, in as much as I infrequently attended church, I prayed infrequently, I talked about God. I would have said that I was a Christian, but I was very weak in my faith.
There they begin to drive with Abdullah.
Really, for me, I think there was so many things which kind of pulled me in that direction. We got married, and I think that the whole process of how we met and how we got married and all that kind of stuff was a miracle. Like, I said that to you many times in those first 6 months. I was like, this is a miracle. There is too much providential alignment here for me to unpack this all. I was kind of overwhelmed with it at the time. It was something which I just thought was beyond my comprehension. There were so many things, even now, when I think about it, now the kind of mystery has faded, so the surprise is less than it was at the time, but there were were things like going back into decades ago where we see having menu that this could be the steps that got him beyond to get to this place in my life. You know, even the fact that
Those tight ends block pretty well.
I mean, I had a USB
that's one of the most dynamic positions in football now.
It was
Tight ends
crazy.
who can
You know,
block
at
in
the
the
time,
line of
like
scrimmage at the point of attack,
what
and they can also get downfield and catch the football.
In those 6 months, and just how I thought about the world
winds
after
up
that.
getting about 3 there. It's
That
second
was
down.
definitely something where I felt the presence of God. And then
Second
there
down, this is
was
Madison.
the recognition,
I don't
guess,
get it, bro.
Able to take it down to the 42.
the political debates we
9
were
yards
in.
to pick up there, and it's a first
I mean, there were
down.
many things, but the political debates we
Give
were
them
in
credit here
required
because they're
truth.
playing this game
You know,
now
that is
at their
something where
pace. This is ball control football.
I still, to
Sustained
this
runs,
day,
taking their time and making it
I
work.
think that if you're a conservative and
Throw
or
over
you
the
call
middle,
yourself a
taken in by his tight
conservative,
end. And he's going to get this down near the 30-yard line.
just a bit
Give him
meaningless in
12
some
yards
ways,
that
but
time, and a Las Vegas first.
if you want to call yourself a conservative on the American right, you have to say, well, what are we seeking to conserve? And you have to say, well, what is
Now a throw
fundamentally
here,
at the heart
hauled in.
of everything that we
Calling a gain of
believe
3
in
on the
America
play.
or even in
And
the
that will
West,
bring
in
up
the
second
world?
down.
What is the truth that we are aiming for? And particularly when you get to these kind of radical fringes of politics where you're talking
Here's a throw
about,
to his running back. It's
you know,
complete.
the ability of men
And
to
down he
change
goes,
their
taking it
genders
inside
or
the 10, just
the
shy of the
LGBT
5 or
lobby or
6.
whatever it might be.
A good
Whatever
pickup
it is,
there,
whatever these
21
topics are.
yards.
You start to realize that truth
right
itself
now.
is
They come out
breaking
here in the
down
third
into
quarter,
like
possess the ball
nothing.
for quite a
It's
while,
just being
and
destroyed.
they keep
Truth
on
is being
converting.
slowly
Nice
chipped away
pitch
at
and catch
until the
there to
kernel
set
of
up for
truth
first and goal.
is so small
And
that
he's
it's so
able to get
difficult
it
for
down to
people
the
to
2-yard
find in
line.
those debates. So you have to start, okay, well, where's the starting point? Like, what do we go back to? What
The
is the
offense
very
knew that they
heartbeat
were
of
already
truth?
starting to walk back as
And the
that was
heartbeat of truth
accepted.
has
A
to be
terrible
absolute.
spot
It
for a
has to
holding
be
call
an
as he'll try
objective
again,
reality.
but now from
And
further
the
back
objective
on
reality
first and
of
goal.
truth is
Again, he'll drop
Christ.
to throw.
And for
He
me,
completes it to a
I started
goal.
realizing
And
that
out of
the
bounds,
more and
all
more
the way
I
down
talked
at the
about
3. Nice job
politics,
there after the
or we were
setback,
involved
11
in
yards,
politics,
and now
or
it's
the
second
more I
and
saw
goal.
or witnessed politics, the more I realized that truth was absence. Like, truth was absent from those debates. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, I need to see what truth is
And
again.
he's going to go
And I need
down
to
just outside of the 5,
reform a
right around the
relationship with that
6-yard line.
15-year-old
They'll
boy
wind
inside
up
of me
losing 3
who
there
was
on the sack,
really
and that makes things
fascinated
tougher
by
here on
theology.
3rd
And
and
for me, that
goal.
was kind of,
This is a little hard
I
for
was
me
like,
to
okay,
compute
this is the
because
big
I'm watching
missing part
sack
of my
after
life.
sack
Like, this is
happen,
where
but somehow
I
they're
don't
still
really have
behind
a
in the
relationship
game.
with God like
I
I
would
used to
expect
when I
all
was
of
a
this
teenager.
defensive pressure
And
to
in my
translate
very
to
early
them taking the
20s.
lead, and thus
So
far, it
that
hasn't
was what
happened.
drew me
Time to
back. I
wind
was
him
like, I
down.
need to
And
discover
that's
what
going to be
this again.
caught for a Raider
And then that was kind of the
touchdown.
first stepping stone, and then it became very apparent to me that
Second
re-engagement with
touchdown
my
of the
faith
night.
was
And
something
his
which I
guys
needed to
now
do in a
an
very
extra
serious way.
point away from
I'm just
taking a
going to
3-score lead.
kick it to one of our advertisers, Gold Cup, because we're all wondering what they have in store for President-elect Donald Trump. Are they going to crush the economy before he gets into office? Are they going to kick off World War III? It certainly looks that way. I don't know what they're up to, but I'm also not waiting around to find out. I don't think that you should either, which is why you should go to CandiceLikesGold.com, learn about my partners over at Gold Co. They are the precious metals company that I trust. They're top rated. They have impeccable customer service. They have supported this show since the very beginning. And for my listeners, they're going to give you a free gold and silver kit. This will teach you about how precious metals can protect your money and help you invest in the future. You can also get a 10% instant matching bonus over qualified orders. I don't want you to miss out on this. This is a great way to help support the show. All you have to do is go to CandiceLikesGold.com. Again, that is CandiceLikesGold.com. How has fatherhood played a role in that? If fathers played a role in that, the kind of fathers. Very big sea change, I think,
here on first down.
I don't know. Maybe some are like, well, actually.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, being a dad is huge. I mean, you want the best for your children, you know, and so I want,
Second and
you know, I love my
5.
children. I mean, there are so many ways that father changes you. Being a father both motivates you to be the best dad you can be. It wants you. It motivates you to stay alive, which is a funny thing to say. You become very aware. I became very aware within moments, within months,
They brought the heat, and if he forces out, they're fine with that, and they force another incompletion.
Very aware of, like, I'm going to die.
Short throw caught by Pitts. And he is going to have the Falcons first down as they're able to get the third down conversion.
And that is because I think our world has lost the perception of death. We do everything to try and avoid talking about death. We don't want to cover the topic, and death is perceived of as this great.
Out of the gun, they'll look to
we mustn't talk about death.
This will be
we must avoid death. And even everything
down
we do
at the
is kind of like
a pickup of
constant
4 that started at
culture of trying to
148-yard
extend
line
life,
and
like
ended at the
plastic
other.
surgery. Is trying to make yourself look beautiful because you are denying the aging process, you know. And even now, when we're trying to, when we are inevitably going to die, we must be in control of that process through euthanasia. Like the UK is just burning through this system, dying bill, which is a complete abomination. But this is how we are now perceiving death. We have to control this process. So natural death is perceived is totally pushed to one side. But when I became a father, I suddenly realized that I was going to be able to die. And that's just going to happen. And I need to sort out my relationship with God. And I need to be aligned with Him. And not just be aligned with Him, but I need to promote Christ in this world. And I need to promote Christ in my children. And I want them to be raised in faith. So I want them to have the best relationship with God. Because that's the ultimate gift that I can give them. More so than money, more so than anything else. Like, you know, stability is good. Of course, it should be so, but there are plenty of children who don't grow up in stable homes who I would still wish the same for them, that they know the truth of Jesus
When to just
Christ.
go ahead and go down early and make sure you don't fumble the football.
It's been the case for me. I think have an active spiritual life. I now kind of observe my past political perspectives as quite adolescent in a way. Like, I look at me going around college campuses and speaking about these issues, having removed Christ from the conversation, where I'm saying Christ on stage is not with the
25-yard line.
not with the full scriptures, I guess is the best way to say it. It's more kind of like a political talking point. And truly believing at that time that I had landed on truth and I like the lowercase truth. Well, the left hates family. The left hates the social cohesion. Oh, the left loves, racism because of this or that. Oh, the left, feminism, this. And then when you really arrive at the full picture, this is not a war against Trump. This is not a war against conservatives. It's always been a war against Christ. Nothing has changed. And to come to that understanding, it's been so refreshing and calming in a way where I don't crave politics too much too often. I don't crave politics the way that I used to crave it. And I think for a lot of people, politics does become a drug. They're addicted to the high life of politics, like being in the room, meeting people, and you get into these sitting with each other, and that's such a letdown.
I didn't even turn the ball over.
Fighting for high life of politics, like being in the room, meeting people, and you get into these rooms, and people are drunks and addicts, and people are sitting with each other, and that's such a letdown. It's such a letdown because you want to believe that you're really fighting for a sense of morality. But it's only a letdown, I think, if you don't have a spiritual life, and you don't have the perspective, a clarifying perspective that, in the end, Christ wins. I think that's really been something that has changed in me since you've sort of changed my world in terms of
I think I would just
one quarter remains here in this Thursday night matchup. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports.
And
Back
what
now
that means
in Las Vegas. Welcome back,
the Bible is
everybody.
very clear about this, and actually the church is doing something very clear, which is that this world,
David Onyemata,
the devil is called the
excellent
prince of this
effort,
world.
and
It's
he
his
earns
domain.
a tackle
Right?
for
In many ways,
loss.
the world is his domain. And so in many ways, the armies of Christ
Second and 13.
are actually, we are the idiots.
God, yo, what?
The Bible is very clear about this, and actually the church is doing the same thing, which is that this world,
That time there was very
the
little.
devil
I
is
think they
called the
were
prince of
actually
this world.
fortunate
It's his
that it was
domain.
only knocked
Right?
away,
In many
not
ways, the
intercepted.
world is his domain. And so in many ways, the armies
This
of
is
Christ
Alexander
are
Madison out of
actually,
the
we
backfield
are the
with it.
aliens.
And he gets it
The Bible is
inside the
very
10 to
clear
the
about this.
9.
We are the aliens in
convert
this
on
world
third down, and
because
that
we
sets
are
up
the
a
people
first
who
and
are
goal.
living a totally
passing game continues
for
to
the
be
majority
their
of the world,
friend.
and Christianity is always going to reach on the outside.
Charles, they're going
Yes,
back to
it
that
became,
well.
it had its great kind of medieval heyday where it became the dominant,
He's been able to throw it well. They continue to throw these safe passes. Who can blame him?
But of course, what happened during that time, like, the church was infected with secularism as well. Like, there was corruption in it, and there was, the seeking of power, and there were many problems with it. But really, Christians live as outsiders in this world. Like, our home is not this world. Our home is the world to come. And so, when you look at it from that perspective, you just say, okay, well, what's really going on? Like, the devil is fighting with everything that he has to destroy all good things in this world. That is what he is seeking to do at all times, and he never takes a day off. It's like, you never get a day off. You are always vulnerable. There's always this constant awareness. Like, if I've learned one thing of being a Christian, it's that prayer is like oxygen. It is as needed on a daily basis as it is needed, like oxygen or food.
About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense
The
at the
devil
line.
certainly doesn't
we
care
stand right now
whether
in the
it's
fourth quarter. This one
Tuesday
pretty
and
much
you're
out
having
of
the best day of your
I know
life,
they're going to
or
be
whether
disappointed
it's,
about several things with this ball
the day
game.
your father dies. It doesn't make a
Self-inflicted wounds.
difference.
They've had
It's the
several
same
turnovers.
battle.
You would have to think
It will
that's going to be
always
something they're going to
to
discuss
destroy.
heavily in the film section
And so
in the
that for
coming
me is
days.
just something where I'm like,
right about that, partner,
politics,
because
forget it. I mean,
they
like,
have to sit in that
politics,
film room and
it
watch
is
every
tertiary. I
error
mean,
that they
Andrew
made
Breitbart
and figure out how to not do it in the future.
famously
And
said
mentally,
that, politics is downstream of culture, and I would add that culture is downstream of faith, because at the heart of
this, they'll
whether
use
it's
as motivation for the rest of the time that they
global
play
conflict,
to hopefully never be
societal
in this type of
change,
situation again.
the rise and fall of ideologies,
Caught by
and
London.
this
And he has
segues
a
back
big
into what
gain
we talked about at
inside
the
the
beginning,
40
the understanding of faith,
dropped.
the understanding of theology.
25
Like, why
yards
was that
there on the
interesting?
catch
Because
and
at the
run.
heart of
So
everything
here's a first
is
and 10
faith.
now in
And it's something
Raiders
which is like
territory
very
at the
misunderstood
39-yard
because
line.
the whole of our
Throw again.
economic system is built off rationality. It's built off
Caught by
humans making
Warner,
rational
the tight
choices at
end.
all times. Right? That's kind
After
of
all
our
that, they
entire
only
economic
wind
model
up
is
with a
based off
yard.
rational
It's
choices.
second down.
But
You got
humans
the big
make
lead defensively.
what would be
Willing
perceived
to
of
give them that underneath
in
stuff,
economic
right?
terms
And
as
this is why you
irrational
work on your
choices the
tackle.
whole time.
Tackle them after the catch,
It's not
inbounds, keep the
good
clock running.
necessarily.
Just go ahead and
You
bleed
could
the
argue
game
that
out
it was,
that way.
but there's a strong economic argument to say it's
Second
not
down
good to
and a
give money
run by
away.
Robinson.
Right? Why would you do that?
Trying to run
You've
inside,
earned all
but
this
nothing
value.
there.
You should accrue it to yourself.
Officially no
But
gain on the
Christianity
play, and
teaches
they're left with a 3rd and 8.
and
The offense on 3rd down
proposes that
tonight,
you should
5 out of 9 thus far.
right, and actually that
This
you
is
should
3rd
turn
and 8.
outwards and not just look inwards.
Short
And
throw
actually, of
caught
course,
by
when
Pitts.
you start
And
doing
they'll
that,
cross
the
over out
rewards
of
do
bounds
flow,
right
because
at
then
the
you will
25.
become blessed beyond
12
measure.
yards
You know,
there
it's
as
like
they keep this
you give things
drive
away, the
rolling.
Lord
It's
gives more
another
to you.
first down. Those are
Second
the
to
types
the
of plays they
Bible, what
probably
is your
wish they
favorite
had
book?
made more of in the first 3 quarters.
That's a hard one.
This deficit is going to be tough to
All right, give me
overcome here in the
3.
fourth.
Like
A nice
episodes.
That was
first
the
down
right
and a
answer.
pick up on that throw.
And this is where, as coaches, you're looking for effort
Well
and
done,
execution,
you.
even though the scoreboard is going against you. You want to find out who's going to fight, who's going to
I am
scrap,
one of them.
who's going to keep their
I
heads
guess
up and
this, if
continue
I
to
was to
play.
say one that has had served the most impact in your life, I would say.
Complete over the middle. That's more. And the
You always tell
Falcons are
me,
going to have their first and goal
yes,
as
okay, I was
the
gonna say
tackle is
right.
made at about the 5. They're going to hurry back to the line now.
That book was very transformative in my early 20s.
And he's going to be
when I was
messed
young
up the
man,
line
it
of
was
scrimmage and
huge to
taken
me.
down.
You know, when I read out the
No
front,
gain
I
on the
was
play that time, but it sets up
so
second and goal.
overwhelmed by the
His
diagnosis
carries
that
tonight,
provided
they're
on us.
getting up there, so maybe one of those every now
But
and then
Ayn
is understandable.
Rand, she is a very complicated character.
Every now and then.
She's not
Sometimes you come
somebody
back
that
and you
now
fake
I
it
would
till
say
they play
I
action.
am.
But other times you say,
I
okay,
want
they
to be
got him on
affiliated
that
with
one.
because
We'll
she's
come back to him in
vehemently
another game.
anti-faith.
Two
She's
runs in a
vehemently
row, but
anti
only
the
2
church.
yards
She
to show
believes
for
of
it. This
the
Raider
church's
defense not
superstition.
give it in.
Are
They'll
you
try to
able to
hold
separate
once
the
more
author
on
from
3rd
the
and
work?
goal.
Well, the work
Forced out,
itself,
and he'll
It's a
take
very
it
deep question,
into
by the way,
the end
philosophically
zone.
speaking, who wants to stop movies can separate the artist from their
A
work.
3-yard
the
touchdown
work
run.
itself,
And the Falcons get a bit closer.
there are shadows within the work itself.
I'm pretty sure that was a passing play, but he took off pretty quickly and ran with it.
Love his decisiveness on it because you're exactly right. He was supposed to go back in the pocket and survey the field and throw the football, but when that hole opened, he just said, forget it, let's go.
Going through a period of like internal cannibalization. We are cannibalizing ourselves from inside. We are not facing currently in America or the West. Okay,
from here, that's for sure, but that makes it a two-score
global conflicts
now
going
we
on,
see
but
why
not this
teams
one side.
practice so much on the two-point conversion when you have more than one play ready, because you may need multiples to throw out a ball
ideologically, we're just
game.
going to crush us, right? It's not like communism. And of course, what Iran was writing, and I've read pretty much every book ever written.
Now, there are 2 scores on the plus side. Still time here in this fourth quarter, but maybe you start thinking about playing keep.
Man, y'all don't want to win, man.
I agree with a lot of her analysis. Like, she is right on the money. Economically,
To
there's
keep
no
up
doubt
with your
about it.
theme there,
But
playing keep away.
the sad part about what she does is that she also throws into the same diagnosis religion.
And second and 10, he'll look to
if you
throw
read out
again.
Shrugged,
Short throw, and that's hauled in by Mayer. And they'll get it all the
I'm
way
sure there'll
up
be some
about
fact
5
checking on
yards
this.
shy of midfield.
72
That one's good for 20. Unintention run.
I don't recall.
Normally you might say start running the football. You've got the lead here in the fourth quarter, but the way that they passed it with such success, maybe keep throwing it.
Right?
Yeah, I think you brought up
Because her
something that
principle,
goes against
her
conventional wisdom, right? In
motivation
this
is
stage
I,
of the game,
right? And that
you
is,
would think you
she's
would
talking
switch to
about
a running
I,
attack, but you're
and now
exactly
I
right.
should come
They've
first.
done it
She
so well
basically
throughout the game,
promotes
and
the
trusting
theory
this
of selfish,
quarterback,
like
I think you
selfish
continue to do
motivation.
so.
And
Ideal spot here to get a first
from an
down and
economic
try to run
perspective,
some more clock.
the
And this is
West has
second and
fallen
less
so
than a
far from
yard.
that, where we're leeching from people, we take from people
Let's
who
this go
create
for
things, we
Renfro
destroy wealth, we are
downfield.
intent on making
He's
this
unable
right?
to
Our
hold on to
governments
that
are determined on
defensively.
taxing
A
and suppressing
potential game
the
changer, but it
creation of
falls
wealth.
incomplete.
And
And from that perspective, I would agree with
got to
them.
take some
But I
chances.
would not
They've got to put the ball in the
say
air
that,
and
like,
just see
I would
what
not align
happens.
myself
But
with,
this
I would definitely
defense
not
knows
at
that
the age
all
of
too
34
well.
align myself now with
They'll
where
try to
I
get it on the ground with
believed
Madison.
that I was when I
And
was
he's
like
going to
22.
have the
Right?
first
I read
down
it
at
in 3
about the
weeks.
So let's
38.
stand corrected.
59 yards
You're saying
rushing for him
now
now, and
is
what was
your
his 10th carry of the ball game.
favorite book, most
So here's a
transformative book.
first
You
and
were saying
10
these
at
are the
the
books that you should
38.
definitely read, put on your list. Our books are so different, by the way. It's so funny. We both supply our list. They'd be like, what is going on in this household?
Gosh, that's
They'll
a
run
really
again.
good
This
question.
time it's Abdullah. And he'll get it inside the 35. I'm sure that's going to be the formula. Just keep the ball on the ground.
Well, you
Keep
do
that clock
read
moving.
in the morning. You read 3 books. Now, this is again contributing to your spirit.
Intercepted.
But
Maybe the
obviously the
turning
Bible.
point they need.
You read quotations from C.S. Lewis. Maybe there's a C.S. Lewis book in there
And the
that you might
Falcons are
recommend.
right
Some
back in
ideas here,
this
and then you
football game.
read which
This
Pope
D, particularly
Pius
the secondary, has been picked
Benedict
apart.
16.
I really do read it from those two.
Finally,
Those two guys.
And we
Those two
know
guys
this
are
about him. He
and
loves
C.S.
night
Lewis.
games.
I do read a daily reader from those two because they are
He ran off the field
treasures of wisdom.
They finally
Now, do they have a specific book like C.S. Lewis and Christianity, obviously, which has seemed to undergo quite a popular
Absolutely, just
resurgence?
needed a touch more air under him. Instead, he
Brand,
fired
for
an
example,
absolute bullet.
Cupid in our story. He
He'll try again with the arm here
did
on
a book
second
cover,
down. Here's a
which
screen
I
for Robinson.
thought was, very
Really
good.
love the
This
idea
one
of Russell
just shy
Brand
of
as
the
Cupid.
40, down at the 39. And now they're in the
But
hurry
then on
out.
top of that, I would say
On first down, he'll drop
there
to
are really
throw.
interesting books that I've read
Pass complete to
in
Moore.
the last
He's
few
tackled
years,
a yard
which
short of the
I find to
marker.
be very
Gain of
interesting.
9
Like
on
totally
first
different topics.
down.
I mean, I
Ball
would
on
say
the
The Rise and
47-yard
Triumph of
line. Here's
Self,
second down and 1.
which was written by a professor called
Hand off to
Carl
Robinson
Truman,
out of
I
the
think,
shotgun.
which I read last
And he
year.
is met
Is
at
a
the line
really,
of scrimmage,
really
and he goes
interesting
down right there.
analysis
No
on
gain on the play, and now they're faced with a
how
third
we
and
have
1.
ended up. Is basically this.
So they
It's
just
basically
need 1 yard here
the
to pick up
politics
the
of
first
sexuality.
down.
And it's been a
Here
fascinating
we'll
book.
try to pick
It
it
was a
up.
fascinating book just to,
And a
because
strong
to the
run that
untrained
time as
mind,
he's
you get
across
here and you
midfield.
get to
And
2024
down to
like,
the 43.
what
10
on
yards there
earth
and a
went
first down
wrong?
for the
Like,
Falcons.
where did we
Now,
go
yes,
wrong?
a two-possession game,
Like,
but a
how
good
did
chunk
we
of
end
time
up
on the
just
clock,
talking
so
about
they have the
this?
ability still
He
there
does
to
a
run it
really
on second
amazing
and
job
short,
of
but
it.
maybe
Probably
they
was
need to
the
pick it
most-
up a bit.
You're
It
right,
was
he
just
did
the
pick
most
up the first
interesting
down
book
there.
that I
But
read the last 5
as you
years.
mentioned, they have to
It was,
pick up the
well, maybe
pace
not
now
last 5 years,
because
but
it's a
definitely
two-possession game.
last couple of
They've
years.
got to get there
It's
twice to make sure they have a chance to win.
it weaves the thread of how we started talking about the romantic literature poets, and how we ended up at transgender. And it's basically saying that, you have this kind of like fine thread which is being woven all the way through countless like generations and centuries, where the politics of sexuality have become it is like now that is the biggest thing for people, and for them, sexuality is the number one. It is the new God. He does a great job in explaining. I would also say things like another great book which I read in the last 5 years was The Great American Gamble, which is a weirdly kind of academic book about America's nuclear policy in the last 70 years. And when I say nuclear, I mean like nuclear weapons. And it really demonstrated to me that, and in some ways this goes back to what we were saying earlier,
Charles, they're trying to protect this lead late. Those are the types of mistakes they can afford to go without.
About the last thing you want to give them is help in completing a comeback, which is exactly what that penalty does.
Itself in a position of unbelievable weakness by doing what it did, which was kind of saying, we will have this great policy of mutually assured destruction, and mutually assured destruction was a completely nonsense. And actually it just changed the way I thought about geopolitics, it changed the way I thought about defense, it changed the way I think about America's role in the world, and so that was another fascinating book. There are so
this back now to a 10-point spread, and you have to imagine they'll line up and go for two.
History. I mean, there are so many great books which I've read in the last few years, which I would really recommend.
They can make things awfully interesting here in these last few minutes.
International liberalism, expansion, that's been a bit of a mess, geopolitically speaking. I don't understand why we think it's our job to spread democracy. We're never actually spreading democracy. When we say spread democracy, it's like code word for dropping bombs. I don't get your political and ask you aggressive questions. Yes, we're the hot burning topics. Zelensky.
Are you guys just going to very quickly throw in just once more to another one of our advertisers, this time American Financings? I know that there are some people out there that are feeling the stress about giving your family member a holiday. You're not alone. Prices remain higher than ever. A lot of Americans are maxing out their credit cards. Now is the perfect time to take control of your finances and pay off that debt. If you're a homeowner, want equity in your home and you can start saving. Your customers save $800 a month on average. Just imagine what that would mean for your family. Plus, if you act now, you can even delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you the extra cash for the season. It would be so nice to start the year without that debt and those monthly minimum payments that cost nothing to find out how much you could be saving. Holidays are going to be here before you know it, so call one of American Financing salary-based mortgage consultants today. Call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Again, that's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Okay, so another question, obviously, comes into this year, and it's been a year for the books for India, I would say. We have definitely had a year. Peaceful.
Quiet, yeah.
The quiet year, no changes, everything's been copacetic.
Just looking to get through and protect the ball.
But,
now right out of the 2-minute break.
I guess people would just want to know what that was like, what this year has been like as somebody who actually had a front row seat to everything. I mean, the public always thinks they have a front row seat to everything. It's always either 10 times better or worse behind the scenes, go with worse. And obviously it was a tremendous shock. Our life shifted. You were just the most brilliant person in the entire world, having to figure out an entire podcast business in the span of, 6 weeks. We're back up and running, and the advertising business, I always say, like, I'm just a person who talks on the internet instead of talking to my friends on the phone, and then you have to figure out everything else. And so just sitting from your seat throughout that entire process, change, whatever it is you want to call it, what did you think about it? What was that like going through it?
Well, the later kickoff unit now as they will send this one away.
You are. We can do this.
We could do this. I am stubborn.
Yeah, so there you go. No, but it's a team effort. It's a team effort.
And he brings us out past the 20 to the 24.
But yeah, it was the most challenging year we've ever had for sure in so many ways.
The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. Well, this game, it has had no shortage of offense. They've been able to put up a decent amount of points on this side, Charles. They just have not been able to keep pace with the other offense they're going against here.
Yeah, that's a good way of pointing things out because now it's not a total loss because, as you said, they're scoring some points. So there's some plays they can build on, whether the game plan actually worked. But overall, though, they were just out-personnel. They were going up against a team that's playing at an elite level.
Raising children.
Into a sea of bodies, and it's intercepted. And this one will be brought back to the 22.
There's been a lot.
Lucky was trying to push it downfield, but the safety did it.
And he'll learn that you have to hold the safety. And you do that with your head movement, your eyes, sometimes your shoulders. Hold the safety so you can get back to the throw that you really want to make. He got so excited thinking his guy was open that he made it easy for the defensive back to go get the football.
The Falcons going to use the second of their timeouts as it comes with exactly a minute to go in the football game. Here's the 2nd and 5.
It's not like waffles or cereal. It's kind of like, what are they going to publish? Okay, we're going to do something about this.
And all the way down inside the 5 to the 4.
And that also means that we do just have this
third and final timeout as they get the stoppage with a little over 15 seconds left to go in the game.
I really enjoy. And I think that actually, in some ways, I know that you've said this.
The Raiders likely going to get out of this with a victory as they take a knee.
You said in your Thanksgiving message that you were thankful for being fired. And I think, what that did is it, for me, the year of change has been in some ways ripping off. It's exposed the rawness. I feel like this year has been very raw. It's been very brutal to just be okay, we're going to get this done and we're going to get this done. We've got to get this done. We just got to do it. And
so he'll take a knee here to wrap this one up, and he's going to want to keep that game ball. He was sensational.
And it's where's the money and it's been a lot.
Well, partner, under the lights in primetime, this offense, they gave the nation quite a show, putting up that many points to come away with what will certainly be a memorable win for them.
As good as it gets, but now it's
some players, some teams,
battle-tested.
they're just meant for the big stage. And when they get a chance to play in this type of atmosphere, all eyes are on them and all the lights are shining brightly.
One of the things that really surprised me is how well we handled it, I'm even surprised by it. I'm surprised by how calm you dealt with everything, how you just sort of figured it all out, and how it didn't.
So that'll do
it was this massive earthquake in our lives everywhere around us. Most people can just leave their job.
This has been a presentation
become a
of the
trending
NFL
story. And it was every person having an opinion about you leaving your job is not a normal thing to go through. And yet, I would say our home was really the eye of the storm because there is something about adrenaline that does focus you. I think that really is the story of this year. It was the focus that adrenaline can breed, where when you have to survive, when your back is against the wall, you just figure it out because you have no other option. And I would have said we had an amazing marriage before, but we had not been battle tested, and I feel so confident now in a way. That's why I say it really was a blessing to have been given this challenge. God is even blessing you in times of tremendous challenge to have come out the other side so unscathed and just stronger in our partnership. And really, I attribute the success of the show and everything that's happened to you. Everybody knows that. Who works here? I'm just a cute face on the internet. Speaking about things that I'm interested in, taking people through my 26 personalities that you have to deal with every single day. But it has been amazing, and so I, first of all, just want to thank you for this year. Also want to, I know you hate compliments, very English of him. You cannot thank him, you cannot tell him he looks nice, you can't tell him how amazing he is, but he was the rock through this year, so much more so than me, and he just gave me the confidence to just go ahead and be myself, essentially, and I think that's the biggest thing you can ask for in a marriage. I'm just going to keep complimenting you until you melt into the chair, as an Englishman does. Okay, to close this, on a topic that is very fun. Online conspiracies, they are my favorites. They're amazing. People come up with such amazing things. Do you know that, by the way, ChatGPT once gave somebody the answer, and they tagged me and they were like, what ancestry is George? And it said George Farmer was a Jew. Like that your family was Jewish, that your father's father was Jewish. which is crazy. And then but the internet is a strange place. If it's on the internet, then so many people believe it's true. So I've got some favorite conspiracies. One, that your father is a Rothschild, that I'm a Rothschild. It's amazing. Or I'm married into the Rothschild family. That's a good one.
Uncle Jacob.
Just roll with that. I just would like the money. If that is true, I want the money.
Uncle Jacob Rothschild.
It's like, I'm like, where do they go with this stuff? Somebody creates a chart, and the next thing you know, they're like, okay, somehow Candace is married to the Rothschild family. I honestly, guys, if that was true, you would be the first to know. The second one, now this is a new favorite one that we deal with.